The Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail is presented by Busch.
The Elite 50, the top 50 anglers in the business, have been battling it out on the Alabama River. And the best of the bunch after 3 days has been Oklahoma's Tommy Biffle. On day 3, he catches 13 pounds, 9 ounces to lead the field into the final round, the round of 6. Biffle has found a deep cover current break pattern and has been solid all week long. Woo! Also solid has been Todd Auten. 12 pounds, 2 ounces for Auten to make it into second place with 1 day of fishing remaining. Auten needs to make the top 10 in series points in order to get to the Bassmasters Classic and have a shot at fishing his home lake, Lake Wiley in South Carolina.
That'll work.
The leader in series points coming into this event was bass fishing great Kevin Van Dam with a 50-point cushion. Van Dam made it to the top 12, but he faltered on day 3 to land in 12th place. Meanwhile, his nearest pursuer, Stacy King, jumped up the leaderboard to narrow the gap considerably. Now it's only a 10-point cushion for Kevin Van Dam with Stacy King, Todd Auten, and the winner last time on the E50, Mark Davis, in pursuit. Edwin Evers, Mark Davis, Denny Brower, and Dean Rojas round out the field of 6 who will fish for the championship here on the Alabama River, where the fish are plentiful but can be plenty tough.
It's a giant.
It's going to be a challenge, a full day's work for these anglers. You're going to see it all unfold. Stay with us.
Boy, you ran me through the woods.
We are ready to go with the final day, championship day of this third of 4 events in the E50, the Alabama River. Our 6 anglers are ready to go. The takeoffs in the E50 start at 10 o'clock in the morning, a great deal because the spectators can have a bite of breakfast, come on out, rub elbows with the pros. You can hear some nice things, and what a treat we had this morning.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed?
Was that terrific or what? 9 years old, Steffi Ledbetter singing the national anthem there. Steffi will be singing the anthem at the Bassmasters Classic as well. Something to look forward to. I'm looking forward to today. Fish Fishburne is here, and we are ready to go. A quick look at the leaderboard. After 1 day on our 6-hole course, our 6 finalists are led by Tommy Biffle. He's got a 1.5 pound lead over Todd Auten, but the thing to notice here is there's only about 3.5 pounds difference top to bottom in this 6. What strikes you about the 6?
You got to look at Mark Davis again, holding down the number 5 spot, and after finishing 44th in Russellville, Arkansas, and then having that tremendous win in Columbus, can he maintain and get his way back to the Classic? It's going to be interesting.
We'll be watching that. What's going to win today, spotted bass or largemouth bass?
Well, a combination will probably win. The Alabama River is full of these giant spotted bass, and that's why the anglers love this fishery. They look forward to coming here again and again. Spot, big one, 4, 5, you might see a 6-pounder.
Wow, that would be cool. Our little stretch of the Alabama River, Jerry McKenna standing by to lay out our 6-hole course for us.
Wow, a 6-pound spotted bass, I wonder. Hey, we've got 18 miles of this Alabama River sectioned off into 6 different holes, 6 anglers on the course. They'll have an hour and 20 minutes in each hole, and then they will rotate. Hey, we had over 50 fish caught on the course last week, and 7 of them came from hole number 6, and that's where Todd Auten starts his day. Todd, incidentally, is number 3 on those overall points. Right across the river is Edwin. I've already qualified for the Classic. Evers, he's in hole number 2. There were 7 fish caught there last week. Denny Brower wishes he started in hole number 1, but he's not. He's down here in hole number 4, which is Katoma Creek.
Hole number 1, obviously, is the best hole. That's where the majority of the fish got caught. And by me taking hole number 4, that's the closest I could get to getting into hole number 1. So I'll be the 4th guy to go through it. And, you know, that's the price I pay for, you know, not catching more yesterday to where I could pick hole number 1. But we'll make the best of it. And I think hole number 4's got the potential, you know, to catch 20 pounds right off the bat and put this thing, you know, just end it right there.
Wow, Denny's trying to slam the door, isn't he? Hey, over here in hole number 5, Dean Rojas starts his day there. And boy, Dean did such a great job for us last week with that topwater frog. And here we go, the big one, hole number 1. Guess who starts there? Our leader, Tommy Biffle. And Tommy's trying to stay on a track a little less traveled this week.
There's so many good fishermen in this top 6 and the top 12 yesterday that, you know, all the obvious places are going to get hit probably 3 or 4 or 5 times before you get there after the holes get started and boats rotate through the holes. So I've been kind of keying on the inobvious stuff, and, you know, it's probably get less bites maybe, but as long as you can get a bite a hole, you know, you'll do good. You can cull one.
Well, as we said earlier, the scoreboard very close. It's anyone's game. So you might be wondering, how could Mark Davis possibly go about winning 2 E50s in a row?
My usual strategy in these shootout type formats is to try to learn the course the first day, peck around, cover a lot of water, do a lot of things, and then the second day kind of settle down more or less and try to fish real smart. And use what you learned the first day to your advantage for the second day. Unfortunately, this time I didn't figure out much yesterday because these holes, aside from hole 1, they don't have a whole lot to offer in numbers of fish-wise. So the plan today is we're just going fishing.
Well, everyone's just going fishing, only they're about to run into an unusual amount of train wrecks along the way. Don't miss any of this.
Bassmaster Tournament Trail is brought to you by Citgo. And in part by Bush. By Purely. And by Triton Boats.
Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trails Elite 50 Series. We're here on the Alabama River out of Prattville, Alabama. 3rd of our 4 tournament series. We're finally ready to go, ready to start fishing on this final day. With the lead going into this final day, Tommy Biffle of Oklahoma, just ahead of Todd Auten. So we have a tight field bunched up and ready. We go now to Edwin Evers, the 6th man to qualify in this 6-angler field.
There you go, Tommy. He's locked up with a junior mint.
Number 1.
Hey, Woodville, Kentucky. We'll take him. All right, I was hopping that jig down through there. It never fell. I popped it up off the bottom and it never went down. I was like, Edwin, you better set the hook.
Edwin Evers breaks the ice for our final 6 today. Now our leader, another Oklahoman from Wagner, Oklahoma, Tommy Biffle. This is one of his first casts of the day.
Good fish. Oh! Oh. Not good.
No, that is not good. That looked like a good one, Fish.
Oh, man, look at this slow-mo replay. You can see the fish comes up, he rolls the rod tip down, doesn't work, jig pops out. A lot of these fish were short striking during the competition. That's why we saw so many lost.
How devastating is that to a guy's mindset to happen like the first 3 or 4 casts of the day?
You just really have to maintain your composure, let it be gone, move forward.
Over to Denny Brower, about 3 pounds back of Biffle. He predicted a good start. He's not getting it.
Big fish. Not the way you want to start a day. Have a great big old fish eat a crankbait and pull off after about 4 feet. I have no idea why that fish came off. I didn't get 2 cranks on it and he hit it. I didn't see the fish, but he sure felt heavy. I'm gonna tell myself I foul hooked a carp.
Absolutely nothing wrong with carp fishing because it gets you back. It brings you back mentally. You just wash it away and keep casting.
There we go, big fish.
I'm guessing now would not be the time to ask Denny if he's going to the big barbecue tonight. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, man, the frustration. Got to drive you crazy. And Brower doesn't get rattled very often. He's lost a lot of fish. He's obviously caught a lot more than he's lost, but just got to sit down and get your game face back on.
He's a super competitive guy. What he said early today about this thing being blown away in the first period, that could have happened. Those were great fish.
This is definitely a side of Denny Brower that we don't see very often.
Somebody's going to be a real lucky person today. Lose 2 fish like that right off the bat. I don't get upset very easy, but buddy, that upsets me.
Let's take a look at that fish again in slow-mo. You gotta love this. I know they hate to see it, but he did everything right. He's got the fish on. Looks like the crankbait's deep in the fish's mouth. He's going back to his seat. He's gonna sit down and belly lift these fish in. Now, right there, if you watch, you see the crankbait just barely hanging on with one of the treble hooks. And Denny probably knows it. A lot of times you'll see him roll the rod tip down to try to get another hook back in the fish. And then, of course, they're jumping like crazy here on the Alabama River. Have been all week. He comes up right there. He's inches away. Bait's gone, so is the bass.
Heartbreaker. 6 to 8 pound turnaround, possibly that fish and the first one he lost. So that's an absolute nightmare for Denny Brower. Over to Todd Auten.
2 bass over there. There's 2 bass sitting over there.
2 great big fish just right up there against the bank, probably waiting for a little water to be turned on.
That one just ate my chunk off.
And there you go. Todd Auten says he short struck his jig, just took the back off the trailer.
Bad luck for Todd Auten as well.
Nothing.
Back to Denny Brower. Denny maybe looking a little bit, well, shall we say, PO'd at this point right now.
He's sticking with that crankbait right now, rolling it down those logs in the shallow cover.
Finally, one of you decided to get into the boat. I appreciate that. Why couldn't one of them big ones had it hooked like you do?
We've not heard from Kermit the Frog today. Kermit the Frog, the companion of this man here, Dean Rojas. Actually, this is Leroy the Frog. How about this casting ability on the part of Dean Rojas? That's entertainment. We're going to finish the first round when we come back. We'll challenge our anglers to put one of these big guys in the boat. Unlike what has happened so far, there's more to come. Stay with us. The Elite 50, the top 50 anglers from the Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail. 4 events this year. This is the 3rd of the 4 on the Alabama River. We're going out of Prattville, Alabama today, and you could say we're down to the Elite 6. This is the final day of competition here in Alabama. Tommy Biffle, the leader coming into today, he has not been able to put a fish in the boat yet. Denny Brower has, and he's closed the gap somewhat over to Mark Davis, the man who won our last event, the Tennessee Tom Bigby Waterway down in Mississippi. Mark Davis from Mount Ida, Arkansas. And Tommy Sanders along with Fish Fishburne here. What is Mark doing different this year? He's notched his first regular season win, and now he's just going crazy.
Yeah, he's excited, and he's on a roll, and he's swimming a jig right here through deep grass, something that worked for him in Columbus, and now he's doing it again with a jig.
Mark Davis has won the Bassmasters Classic. He's won 3 Angler of the Year titles, but he came to Lake Table Rock Reservoir, Springfield, Missouri this year, needing his first regular season victory, and guess what? He got it. It's done something for his confidence.
A chance to win back-to-back Elite 50s? I don't think so. The field's tough, man. Look at you got Brower up there, Biffle's back, Auten wanting to make it to another classic.
Big old fish. Come up in here, boy. Thank you, Lord. Thank you.
Well, Mark Davis has missed out on the bad luck that has plagued the likes of Tommy Biffle and Denny Brower so far today. He's really getting it done early.
Put him in the box. Catch 5 and go to the scales. That's what it's all about, this final round of competition.
From Mark Davis back over to Tommy Biffle. Again, he was our leader coming into today. He's, in fact, led the last 2 rounds of competition here on the Alabama River. He's found some slack water, some current breaks, and has really gone to town. in this thick cover.
Biffle is the jig master. It's about the only bait he throws. You can see he's got 6 rods laid out. They've all got a jig on them.
Not as good as that last one, but he'll work. Glad to get him.
Maybe that's going to help his state of mind just a little bit. Lost that really, really good fish on about his 3rd or 4th cast of the day. Back over to Mark Davis.
Here we go. Oh, it come off. Come it.
Unbelievable. Mark Davis just lost a fish. Well, it's going to happen. If you make enough cash, you're going to lose your fair share. Now look at Biffle here trying to beef up his lead.
Come on, baby, be there.
Not a lot of time left. He's here in hole number 1 now. He's hung up. We've seen this a couple of times during the competition, Tommy. They just drive the boat right in there, crash the cover, and try to reach down with either their rod tip or their hand and see if they can get him. Come on, get him out of there, Biffle. Another catch for him. Uh-oh.
Turn the camera off for a minute. Ah, dang it. That's a good fish. Dad, gummit.
Well, as Tommy Biffle tries to calm down just a little bit, let's check in again with Edwin Evers.
Stay on there, girl.
Oh, he loses one too, Tommy. It's just happening.
I'm running out of time.
Well, let's go to the next hole, which is not near as good as the hole we're leaving, but it's going to have to be today to make up. Had a perfect plan for this hole. Could have probably basically put this tournament away, but you know, good things happen and bad things happen.
Oh, yeah, most of it's bad, Denny. Man, oh, man, Fish, have you ever seen a slow-motion train wreck like that before?
This will drive you crazy, and it's not just spots. A lot of these are largemouth that are pulling off, and when you see that, let's just leave the river.
Oh, yeah.
Jump back to the studio. Tell me a little bit about where we are in the points right now.
Points are so important. Consistency through all 4 events is what the E50 is all about. And of course, check this out. We have 6 of the top 13 in the point standings fishing with us today. That is significant. Number 3, number 4 in the point standings, Outen and Davis. They're in there. They're doing some work, so this thing's not done yet.
But there's one guy that we're not seeing today, and that is Kevin Van Dam. Mr. Consistency, and that's what it takes to walk away the champion after 4 Elite 50 events. But here's the thing. Van Dam caught a limit. The first 10 rounds of competition in Russellville, in Columbus, and then here he finishes 12th place. Good for him. He might win it all, Tommy.
Oh, he's good. We'll see if he hangs on and does it. We've finished period number 1 of the fishing here on the Alabama River here on this final day. Tommy Biffle hanging on to his lead by just about a half a pound over Mark Davis, but there is so much more to come when we move into period number 2. What's going to happen, Jerry?
I tell you what, I can't get over period number 1 yet. I guess we have to move to 2. Hey, number 1 was so important for Tommy Biffle, and I guess he'll be the first to admit he didn't do a good job there, and now Todd Otten is moving into it.
Todd's still looking for his first fish of the day. What is it specifically about hole number 1 that's so attractive to these guys, Fish?
Well, you've got to remember, Tommy, on a river system like this, whenever you have holes with backwaters, it's going to concentrate the fish. They use those backwaters to migrate into to spawn, and there's going to be resident fish there year-round.
Smaller fish, but a fish nonetheless for Todd Otten. Every fish counts in this competition. You cannot discount even the small ones, as long as they measure, as long as they go in the box.
He's been dry all day.
Todd Otten with his first fish of the day. Over to Danny Brower. Danny and Todd actually swap places now. Todd moves into 2nd place.
And Brower's going to be casting that square-billed crankbait around. Remember, he's fishing these lay-down trees up against the other cover, and that square bill on that bait allows a wide wobble, and it's a great deflection tool. Creates a reaction strike. He's got one on right here.
Danny Brower desperately needs something good to happen. He had the terrible luck in the first period of fishing today.
Sitting down, rolling the fish around, bring him to him, reach right down, and I got him.
A bass. Barely hooked.
Imagine that.
You may or may not detect a little bit of sarcasm in Benny Brower's voice. I think he's still steaming just a little bit from those lost fish early in the day. Back over to Mark Davis. Well, that's a good one.
A big fish now. Come on, Mark. Get him in the boat. Don't lose him like everybody else. You can see, Tommy, he's going to walk around the boat, drive the fish, actually direct him from getting in the outboard, turn him around again. Whenever they go to jump one way, the guys will thrust the rod the opposite direction to keep his head down.
Give up, boy. You're hooked good.
And he's hooked good enough.
There is a lot of bad luck involved in losing these fish, especially right at the boat, but there's a lot to be said for guys who take extra special care to make sure these fish don't come unbuttoned, right?
Absolutely. You spend the time when you hook one, don't get overconfident and try to swing him too earlier.
Those first 3 bass I've caught this morning, I feel like are just bonus fish. I did not plan on catching 3 quality fish, you know, in these first 2 holes. I just, every day's a new day. That's what makes fishing great, you know. Yesterday, these holes didn't treat me so kind, but today, I'm doing something different. You know, it's a different day. The water's a little different. The conditions are a little different. And I hit on something just right off the bat this morning. And if I don't know how long it'll keep working. Now, the water's going to start falling most likely this afternoon. And when that happens, it'll change things around a little bit.
Don't want to see that. The nightmare continues for Denny Brower.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, gosh. Mercy. Mercy, mercy, mercy. I let him eat it. I did everything just right, and he still come off. Dadgummit. 4-pounder.
Whatever it is, this virus or whatever that's causing these anglers to lose all these fish has apparently spread to Mark Davis. With that fish, he could have put the thing away. Instead, it's anyone's game yet. When we return, we'll see if we have a cure for this problem, and we'll begin round number 3. Biffle, Brower, Davis. This stuff can't go on.
Gotta shake it off. Darn it.
Go Bassmaster Tournament Trail, and these are the best guys in the business, the Elite 50. Man, have we had a battle this final day on the Alabama River, our 3rd event of the season. Tommy Biffle came in with the 3 pounds plus lead over Mark Davis. Mark Davis has turned that completely around.
Here in hole number 3, Tommy, is the Highway 31 bridge that Todd Auten is slow rolling a spinnerbait around. He's got a fish on, and this kid wants to make the classic. He has not qualified from the open divisions nor the tour division. Top 10 go to Charlotte this summer.
Oh, man. Not again. It's just not happening. It's not just a hole. It's not just an angler. Everyone is catching this.
One of them big spots. Yeah.
And we look at the slow-mo again. Look right behind the lure. The fish has come off.
He pulled awful hard.
Giant spot.
Let's try to horse him in here too quick.
Todd Auten remarkably calm when you consider all that has gone on. Does this happen more often with spots than with largemouths, and why?
In most situations, I would say it does because of the current. Their current-driven fish, where the largemouth likes to stay out of the current. He's more docile, but we're seeing it in both species here this week.
Over to Mark Davis now. He's in a hole that has no grass. He's still fishing shallow. He's in hole number 5, one of the river holes. But it doesn't have that grass that he is looking for that has brought him some success earlier today.
And he's throwing that creature bait.
Over now to Edwin Evers. 1 fish so far today, still in 6th place, fishing Katoma Creek. That's hole number 4, the only real creek that runs off the Alabama River in our course.
And you can bet that Edwin Evers wants to put a limit in the boat. There's another fish right there, buried in all of that cover, and he wrenches him out of there.
Well, that's going to wrap up round number 3. Not a bad round for Dean Rojas. He had the 2 small fish, 1 fish apiece for Denny Brower, Tommy Biffle, and also Todd Auten. But the best round, it was for Edwin Evers.
It turns out to be, you saw the 2 that he caught earlier. Well, check this out. Now he's got one on, but the way our luck's been going on the Alabama River, anything can happen. See if he can catch this one.
It is a fish. Golly. Stay on there, girl.
All right, so the fish hung up on the log somehow, right?
Oh, absolutely. He's in a big mat of stuff. It looks like a lay-down tree. You got to remember, the banks of this river are constantly eroding, and new laydowns are falling every day. He's in a big, tangled, gnarly mess. But he's got a shot. I mean, you can go in if you want to deal with snakes.
There are some other creatures besides fish in that water.
Watch out for them snapping turtles, too. Now, they'll get you. Look at him. That's a $1,200 microphone that we have him rigged up with.
He doesn't seem to care.
If he gets that wet, it's over. He's almost out of the boat right there, Tommy.
Hands on her lap. I got something. Oh, son. Look at that.
How in the world is that possible, Fish?
That is absolutely incredible, man. But you know what the deal is you keep a tight line on the fish so it pins him up against the cover.
Oh, my goodness. Sitting there, I flipped in there, this is kind of heavy. I was like, I'm just gonna set the hook. And I set the hook, and there's so much stuff if you could reach down in there with me. I mean, I was that far. And I mean, I was through logs the whole way, and there's no way I could get the fish back up because the logs are like that far apart. I'll take them any way I can get them. I got about halfway down through there, and I was like, man, there ain't no bass in there. I'm gonna get a snake, you know, because I promise you, when I slithered my hand straight down underneath that log right there, it was ugly.
All right, let me get this straight. There aren't snakes on the Alabama. We'll get that squared away in just a minute. Big move for Edwin Evers, but the biggest move of the day, let's check out the leaderboard. This is huge, 19.5 pounds for Mark Davis, the 4-pound lead right now. Some big doings going on right now. We watch all these guys fish working with the current. Tell us how this works, how the current really allows these guys to catch these fish.
Current is completely about positioning the bait, because when the bait's in the right location, that's when the bass feed. And if you take a look at this graphic right here, you'll see that when there is no current, the bait is just up wandering around, scattered all over the place. They stay bunched up because of safety in numbers, but they go down towards the bottom when the current picks up, and that's when the fish feed on them. You get that little group, and that's when the bass can actually keep on those little ledges or drops. Now, Biffle and Brower have been using the jig all day. It's their backup bait. Yeah, Brower's caught a few and lost a few on the crankbait, but the black and blue jig and pig with the big claws on the back that looks like a crawfish is one of their top tournament tactics.
All right. Now think back when Edwin Evers had his hand up that log. Think about that as we watch this little piece of action right here.
And not just Edwin. A lot of guys have been reaching in these trees. Not me, mister.
Check it out. Oh, no.
Look at that.
I think that might have been a poisonous snake.
I guarantee you it is. All of them are.
Oh, man. Well, that's the way it is on the Alabama River. Back over to Tommy Biffle. He's still struggling. Only 2 fish today, but what might have been for him. Man, did he lose a good fish in that first period.
Oh, boy. When it's bad, it's bad. He wasn't much, but he was a keeper.
He was a keeper. And take a look at the slow-mo. Here's some cool footage. A hard hook set up and over and off. Goodbye, Mr. Bass. Biffle, you should have batted him down, man.
Was there a little bit of frustration in that hook set right there? A little bit of taking out some anxiety on the fish community there?
Oh, I promise. And the cover these guys are fishing not only creates a great hiding spot, but it's also a current break, and the fish get in behind this stuff.
Look at that one, a fish in the boat. He actually catches his 3rd fish right there.
Not very big, but he'll count.
Still a lot of fishing left to go, and Tommy Biffle can climb back into the top spot here today. Maybe things have turned around for Tommy Biffle.
Another great fish. The battle. He brings him out. There's about a 4-pounder. What? Why is he? He's too relaxed.
Boy, it's not going my way.
That one is a grinnell.
Oh, both ends.
Both ends. Mudfish.
Let me have it.
Cypress trout, whatever you want to call it. Not what Tommy wants to happen. Well, good news, Tommy Biffle. The president has scrambled the Thunderbirds. They're coming to your rescue. Just kidding, but somebody really needs to help Tommy Biffle out. He needs a break. Round 5 is coming up. Can Mark Davis pad his lead? We're looking at a guy winning back-to-back on the E50. We're going to have a conversation with Denny Brauer that might be interesting. Go Bassmaster Tournament Trails Elite 50. We are back on the Alabama River. Check this out. Mark Davis, 19 pounds, 8 ounces in the lead, threatening to win his second E50 tournament in a row. 6 qualifiers left fishing on the Alabama River. It has been challenging so far today. Plenty of fish. They're just hard to catch, hard to get in the boat. Mark Davis seems, well, locked in on destiny here.
Stay on, boy.
But is there another lost fish in the cards for him?
Don't you do that.
How many times will we see this today, Tommy Sanders? Anglers making the right cast in the thick of the cover, but having to drive in there with their trolling motor and destroy the area, run any other fish out that are in there, but you got to get them while you can.
Mark almost went head first into that particular hole right there, but success belongs to him. Another one in the boat. This could be Mark Davis's day. It could be, for the second time in a row, Mark Davis's week.
When you get a chance, swim for these bass.
Man, I could see where he was going to be. The biggest piece of that runs in the water, and there wasn't no way to go but just right down into it.
Boy, don't you know the folks down at Mount Ida, Arkansas are proud of Mark Davis today. And, oh, sure. You guys want me to talk to Denny Brauer now? Sure. I'll give it a whirl. I'm up to it. Denny, things have gone pretty rough so far today. Tell us about it.
Well, yesterday I caught a good fish on a square-bill crankbait and had caught him real good one practice day on that, so I decided to kind of start with that bait this morning in the same area I'd caught that one yesterday. And right off the bat, I hooked a real heavy fish on it, never saw the fish, had him on for about 10 foot and he come off, but it was a nice fish. And then about 5 minutes later, I brought it by a bush and I've got one between 4 and 5 pounds that comes out and eats it, and I lose him trying to land him at the boat. He makes one last jump and throws the bait. So I throw a major fit, and I haven't been the same since. I go to the next hole, and I get about a 2-pounder on a jig, and he comes off. And now I'm in hole number 1, and I've just had a big one blow a buzzbait up and miss it. So it can't hardly get any worse. So I'm really looking forward to things starting to improve here before long.
Well, you know, you told us right off the bat that that first stop for you could do it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I should have put it away on the first hole, Jerry. That's very frustrating when you have a day like this, but, you know, what can you do? Just try not to let it mess you up mentally too bad, and it's going to. There's no, as tough as big bites are to come with on this river system right now, when you have unfortunate things like that happen, it's just hard to put out of your mind. But I've still got 2.5 holes to go, and maybe I can make something good happen yet today.
You notice Jerry took a while before he talked to Denny on the telephone. I think I would have, too. I would let Denny cool off a little bit. He seems to be in a better mood now. We haven't heard from Dean Rojas in a long time, though, and yesterday, man, oh, man, did he put on a show for us.
That was the cast with Kermit the Frog, and he was checking the depth with his rod tip to verify was it a couple of feet deep, and boom, fish on. I mean, you talk about luck being on your side. In the boat with a 3-pounder.
Yes, 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 yes.
Understandably celebrating right there, Dean Rojas. Maybe you can do that for us one more time. Let's check this out.
Right. Kermit. Look how he eat that. Kermit. Ta-da! Nice Kermit fish.
Yeah, last week it was showtime with Dean and Kermit, that sumo frog. They really put on a show, and finally, Kermit busts loose and puts one in the boat today. Big, big air show going on just around the corner at the Montgomery Air Force Base. The Thunderbirds in action, and a lot more. But for all the noise and the fury, that has not gotten Denny Brower's attention so far.
He could care less,
Not
man.
very good.
He's trying to catch them. He's up there in the heavy cover again, pitching that jig. When he has a flat laydown log without many limbs, he'll run that square bill crankbait, and he's hooked up right there in the thick of the cover.
Denny Brower already with the big win this year on the Citgo Bassmaster Tour, just ounces over rookie Bink DeSaro in Lake Eufaula.
A little peanut.
Well, Denny on the comeback trail from a back injury a couple of years ago, and he's really making a lot of noise this year. Back over to Edwin Evers, young man who's building a strong career. Now, regardless of what time of day you start fishing, this is the time when you can start having a letdown. Every fish counts as far as your overall point standing in the E50s.
All about the points, and Ed Evers has made a charge here in the last event. One more event to go. Got to maintain that confidence, Tommy.
Absolutely. Those points are so important. Each fish important can mean thousands of dollars, literally. Going to be another keeper for Edwin Evers. Back over to Todd Auten. Now, we saw him on day 3 of this tournament. This family was out, and I guess word got around. They've doubled up. They got twice as much family out there watching Todd Auten fish today.
The entire community came out to watch this fish catch. Listen to them.
Now, that's what it's all about. That is true spectator fishing. Well, that fish we saw Edwin Evers catch just a few moments ago moved him up behind Tommy Biffle in second place. This fish has caused things to jump around again. That pushes Evers back, and now Todd is up there in that position. What a race for second we have got going on here.
A couple of bites like that. Not too bad.
Well, one last round of fishing remaining. Is there going to be a charge by Edwin Evers? We'll also take another look at the ones that got away. Stay with us.
In angler terminology, Mark Davis is hot. How hot is he? Find out when we return. When Mark Davis won the last Citgo Bassmaster Elite 50 event, he became part of another elite group of anglers. Since 1967, only 10 anglers have ever won 2 events in a single season. And if Davis were to win this Elite 50 tournament, he would become a part of an even more elite group of men. Only 3 anglers, Denny Brower, Roland Martin, and Bill Dance, have ever won 3 Citgo Bassmaster events in the same season.
On the Alabama River, take a look at the man in the boat right there. That is Mark Davis. This is the final round of action from the Alabama River, 3rd of 4 E50 events. Mark Davis won the 2nd one, and look at him, he's threatening to win the 3rd. Mark Davis started the day in 5th place. He was 3 pounds back, and now he's moved into 1st. Dean Rojas right here started in 3rd place, dropped to 6th.
Well,
he's got some work to do.
that's some pretty good mojo, don't you think?
Everyone perks up when you say hole number 1. That's where Edwin Evers is found right now, hole number 1. Looks like there's some current moving that boat, too.
Oh, good one. Good one. Stay on there, girl. Stay on there. Oh, whoo, that one helps. That one helps. All right, all right.
Evers 4 pounds back now. Let's get over to Tommy Biffle. What a day he has had.
And if you'll listen very carefully right here at the hook set, broken rod on the hook set, but it's a great fish. Bring him in. Come on, Tommy, swing him up in the...
Oh. Cut the camera off. There he is.
That was another grinnell for Tommy Biffle. Now over to Todd Auten, who has had his troubles today as well.
God. Man, what am I doing wrong? Well, that one right there just cost me.
We just talked about Edwin Evers and the possible money he's making for every fish he can get into the boat today. Todd Auten, man, he's taking the opposite path right now.
And he really did, again, nothing wrong with that with that fight. He just brought him around in front of the trolling motor. These fish are amped up, man. When they're having to move out of current situations and grab something to eat, they're always going to be green like that. Painful for Todd Auten. Painful for this full field as we recap a frustrating day.
I'm going to tell myself I foul hooked the carp.
Oh, fish. Fish, stay on there, girl.
Not the way you want to start a day. Have a great big old fish eat a crankbait and pull off after about 4 feet.
Turn the camera off for a minute. Ah, dang it.
There we go, big fish. There he is. Here we go. Oh, he come on. Man, come on.
Well, it's hard to be smiling when it's been this kind of day.
What a day it has been for Biffle, for Brower, for some of these other guys, but the crowd is ready to go. We've sent fish on. His public awaits him, and we got the weigh-in coming up. The final results are on the way.
Fish, it is great to be here.
Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail is brought to you by Citgo. And in part by Busch Light. By Flowmaster. And by Lowrance.
All right, welcome back. We have a big crowd assembled, ready for that weigh-in there in Prattville, Alabama. A lot of them are going to get shocked, I think, surprised at the very least by what's going to happen at this weigh-in here. Maybe us too. But before we get to that, Jerry, do you think any of the fish we saw out there today are going to challenge Kelly Jordan's big bass from day one of this tournament?
Well, that 6-pound spotted bass that Fish was talking about would have, but I never saw it.
That would never materialize. I wish it would have, because that would have been really cool. So we'll give that one to Kelly Jordan, 6 pounds, 9 ounces, Purolator big bass of the tournament. And now at Prattville, they are raising the roof. They are getting ready to go. Fishermen, start this weigh-in.
Let's kick this thing off in fine fashion with our first angler from Oklahoma, Edwin Evers. Look at him, 8 pounds, 6 ounces. Ed Evers, Alabama is good to you.
It's a great state to live in. You guys need to take care of it.
Let's warm it up for Mark Davis. Come on. 11 pounds, 12 ounces, first place, Davis. Can he win back-to-back Elite 50 events? Say yes.
Well, I'd like to think I could. I probably won't, because I lost a great big bass this morning.
9?
It was big enough to make me want to throw up.
Did you?
No, but I come real close.
Denny Brower!
I don't have it, Fish.
Does not have the weight to take the lead from Davis. 6 pounds, 12 ounces. Dean Rojas! Going to the scales, he needs 10 pounds, 4 ounces. Weight, 5 pounds, 6 ounces for Rojas.
But you know what? I'm just so happy to be here and to be fishing against the 6 best fishermen in the nation.
Welcome, Todd Auten. 5 pounds and 7 ounces, 5'7". We're watching Davis over here. Todd Auten.
It just didn't go right for me.
The one that got away.
The 2 that got away.
Oh! Welcome, Tommy Biffle!
I'm excited. Mark's not excited.
No, he's not. Hey, let's check in with Mark Davis again, everybody.
Nice evening.
We're gonna do this thing. The weight he needs is 8 pounds and 7 ounces. Watch the weight. 4 pounds, 1 ounce. Mark Davis is your champion. There's no way to describe what you must be feeling.
Been fishing a long time and never won back-to-back events. It's awesome.
How about about that. When we started the E50s, we just knew this field was so strong. No way that one person would dominate for 2 events, and yet Mark Davis does it.
I knew he was going to do that.
One person knew. Jerry McInnes knew that.
Hey, a little course info for you. 28 keepers caught the day. Okay. And the number 1 hole was not number 1. It was number 4. And for the 3rd straight tournament, the most productive period was not 10 o'clock in the morning or 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon. It was right in the middle of the day, 2 o'clock.
We're spawning a new generation of late sleepers among the bass anglers with the E50. Speaking of the E50, the total points is what it's all about, consistency of performance. Let's take a look. There have been some changes in the top points list. Kevin Van Dam still on top, but due to this great performance here, Mark Davis has moved in 5 points behind him, 10 points behind Kevin Van Dam. Is Stacy King. The race is on with one more event left to go. We should also talk about the Bush Shootout as well. No entries from this tournament on the Alabama River, so that means Kelly Jordan still on top. Ben Matsubu, the guy on the bubble with 23+ pounds.
Big names there, too. George Cochran, Kevin Van Dam. The big boys just keep showing out.
It's going to be a lot of fun at the end of the season, too, that big one-day tournament. These guys shooting it out.
Right.
$100,000 first prize. All right, we're ready to head on to the final stop in the E50, the Ohio, Cumberland, and Tennessee Rivers in Paducah, Kentucky. We hope you're there for that.
This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to Bassmaster.com.